Does China have a conception of global order? My view is that it's certainly not a well-defined and agreed upon conception, if there is one at all. There are certainly many within China, many intellectuals within China that are debating what China would like as a global order and what they would like China's role and status to be in a future global order. So there are various books, the China Dream, the China Model, and so on, where Chinese intellectuals are thinking in terms of new ideas that the Chinese could put forward that might be based on a form of Confucianism, or might be based on some kind of historical interpretation of their past behaviour. Whether that's mythical or factual is for us to decide. But so I think there are these debates, certainly, but in terms of Chinese governmental promotion of a coherent concept of global order, different from one in which China's resurgence has taken place, I still don't see that as being clearly articulated. It seems to me that they want more voice, they want more representation, and so things like membership in the G20 is very important to it, larger voting rights in the IMF and the like. But I don't see, I see maybe some revisions around the edges, but I don't see something emerging from Chinese governmental elites that would suggest that they are unhappy, dissatisfied power with respect to particular global order principles. In the Chinese context, what's the major challenge that's facing them? Let me return to the domestic level, and that is being able to sustain reasonable growth rates, being able to sustain an economic performance that continues to bring people out of poverty and that transforms China from a middle-income country to a somewhat more richer country. And doing that, making that transition, is extraordinarily hard, and relatively few countries in the global system have been able to make that transition very swiftly. I think that international relations is challenged by this rapid resurgence of China, because that resurgence has led to the development of a perception, at least, that a country like China has benefited more from certain of these globalized processes than others. In other words, it's contributed to a sense that there have been dramatic shifts in relative power. I think the key message of the book is essentially two points. First of all, to say that when we talk about global norms, when we talk about states adhering to certain rules of the game, rules of the road and so on, that we need to remember that those rules are not as clear and as linear as that particular formulation implies, that in fact they are very complex phenomena, things that we label global norms, whether that's the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons or banking, financial regulation and the like. These are very complex, multi-layered phenomena. So examining state behaviour against those particular norms is a very, very difficult undertaking. That's the first message. I think the second message is really to say that when we drill down and we look at major state behaviour in reference to important global norms, that in fact it's inappropriate and unhelpful to label states as either revisionist or status quo powers, or norm makers and norm takers, because essentially what you see is a range of behaviour in response to different issue areas, and that response may derive from, as I say, perceived compatibilities or incompatibilities between global normative requirements and domestic values and goals.